This video is about the update of Paradise Fire. I'm back here in the remnants of the fire last time from Paradise Village, and you can see the people have started to build back their houses once again. But you see the no trespassing private property. This means that on the yellow line they cannot rebuild back because it's owned by a private individual now. So the people are rebuilding their shanties or their houses back again outside the yellow line. Although it's not advisable for them to live in such places, such condition, because the government is not providing enough housing for the poor people, so that's why they have no choice but to rebuild. So you can see here that people go through the hardship of access to their houses, but they have nowhere to go. They still want to live on the same place where they are now. That is the Mactan First Bridge you're watching up there, and this is the community underneath it. This is the fire that burned 250 houses before, and now they are rebuilding back. It's so muddy. So much rain last night. Ay, tas gilid. Apil sa din na dia chip. Apil ni dire chip. So I was asking the guard, it's that included? Diha dito. Atong yellow. So where the yellow line is. Kasi tag-iya kumpanya? Ha? Kabahog. Mr. Kabahog is the owner. Kabahog family, no? Because they're quite well known here in Mandaue City. Ya dito street sana dito dong. Dako di oy. It's quite big property because I could see that the yellow line is extended over there. Asa na tubangan no? Kwaon sila. So this is the post marker. Ato tumoy dito. Lagi? Asa man sila agyo? Ganas sila puyo? Ikaw niya ko. So the guard here was saying to me that I still could see them building over there. Pero dito wala pa no. Apil pa to diyan. So the land that extended, that's privately owned, is extended on the front, but he said that he cannot stop all the people from rebuilding because he don't want to be in danger himself, because the people will fight back ng good no. Ayaw kay makuha di mong kinabuhi dong. I said don't risk your life yun. Ayaw ga. So he was telling his boss that I just let them I let them be, and they will take the proper authorities to kick them out because bitaw hibungto ko lagi kayo dupa kanya ako resa. So the guard is saying that they are really fighting back So he don't want to stop them, but the government is actually telling them not to rebuild again because of the
badlong ko di pa to.
ay na lang daw eh. Ayaw jud.
Lalas ko.
Ayaw i-risk imong life yun. Ayaw jud. I told him not to risk his life arguing with this kind of people because it's one against all. Daghan kay sila dong. There's so many of them fighting him back. So all he can do is
Ako lang di lang jud mapukuran ba. Kasi gikuan mo rin.
oh. So that's the guard situation. Ikaw rin ang usa nimo duty chief.
Buntag na pa yung gabi.
So there's two of them take turns of watching the yellow banded areas that nobody will build back, but like he said, on the top, on the ahead there, people are still building back. So he don't want to risk his life telling them off because they will be fighting him back. Like kana sila oh nanajud lagi. Because like he even told them that you should not be building over because that where the the water will go in there, and when the water rises up from the side of the channel of Mactan.
Dapat lang agyanan nga. Water agyanan dito para lang dili lang mo abi dire. Di madagdag pa na ko.
Ayan. So
Bahala na.
So the people there that was building back was asking him that if they can just build their access from the front, right there on the front, because still privately owned. But he said he don't want to be the one interfering with them because even though he told them off not to, they still do it. So why risk his life? And then he got a lot of threats. Wakati tuyo adong? So the doubts that you can see the fire may be intentional because they want to kick out the people, and this is the easiest way for them to be kicked out. It seems like the rumors are true, Mr. Mead. Look, you know it's now a private property. People are not allowed to build back in, but you know what they're like. They still build back. Even though it's so risky. High tides, typhoons, manganhibi yung tubig. Yeah, so like the guard was saying, the waves, the rise of the water even reach here. You can see why it's wet there because water was high the other day because too much rain and it reached here. Yeah, anoron ang kuan kamo na sila mga CR. Ha? Uy mga CR. Ana rasan malibang. That's what they're saying, that there is no proper sanitation and mawa taga-asam na sila. So even though the guard was told that you don't let them build, but he can't do anything about it because he will be risking his life, and these people will really insist on rebuilding. And like that, inyo ng koralon, na sila luyo. Because like the owner here will wall it off, build up a wrap higher than the land so the water can go through, but the people there on the back will be living there, making the place unsanitary again. In the first place, that was the big problem because of sanitation. Their toilets are just a hole on the ground that waiting for the high tide to wash it away. So cheap oy. Ito na sige nag-build oh.
Hapon gud ako nagikuan na bawal dili pa sulo.
Yeah. So yesterday, those one that's building the houses now, he told them that not to build up because that was the mayor's office. The mayor's office was telling him that while you're guarding there, can you just also tell them not to rebuild? But he can't do that because they are fighting back. They told him that you're just a guard. They will be the one facing the authorities. Ay na lang jud chip kay anaon.
Mo lagi mo na ugapon. Dagdapan. Mo lagi tawagan ako.
Nya. Ang amo nimo. Nya.
Kuha mo gina makumang yung bagwar kana makasita ko na bro. Ana open pa kayo.
So this is the measure that the owner was telling him, that they'll put up this barbed wire fence so he can hold off any people that go in the barbed wire. But as of the moment, the barbed wire only stop on one corner. The people go in. Ha? Mau ba? The people still rebuild. They can't stop them. The government should have the authority to let them off, or exercise their authority to tell them off. Ay na lang, Chip, oy. Sakto sa nandiyo din mong bubuhat, Chip, na don't risk your life. That they're doing the good thing, that protect yourself because you're one against all. Mao. Okay, power, you're just the guard. Sakto sa na. They're right when they're saying you're just the guard, but you don't, like, if they are having weapons like that, hammer and chisel, it still can be used as weapons against him. So what can he do? Oh. So the boundary is the one he's watching first. It's the government's right to exercise their authority over these other people outside the boundary of his private employer. So this is now the situation here. People are not allowed to build, but they are defying the authorities, defying the authority of the private owner. This is what the guard is saying, that they are cutting off the yellow tape to build up again, especially the one on the front. But these people have nowhere to go.
The NGO tama-tama.
Yes.
And government organization
Yes. Tanawa ta tama nang ha. So a lot of houses hapon, but some cannot avoid to rebuild because there's nowhere to go. It's such an eyesore actually, but it's the government's action is the one that they're waiting for to help them. Like provide government land for them to transfer. But a lot of them have already go back to their provinces, go back on different places where they come from before they move here. But there's still a few that got nowhere to go.
I don't think that is the problem really. The problem is these people.
Yeah. The problem is these
Because I
people.
think there's a lot of assistance already given by the government, the NGOs, but still
They still insisted on
people don't like to
Move.
till land. They don't like to till land. They don't like to go farming.
Yeah.
What's wrong with farming?
They want to stay in the city and they got no area to live in. So they come up.
Why don't we go to the high? There's actually a huge space in the
Madungog.
rural area. You can go to the mountain till the lands, you know, go.
But they
go
don't
check on
want to farm
culture,
that. They don't want to
yes.
farm that. They want to live in the city, work in a factory, work in any way, as long as it's not farming. So the problem is when they come to the city, they got nowhere to live and they can't afford to buy land and they can't afford to have mortgages. So this is the thing
They
that they
can't
do,
afford to
squat.
rent.
Yeah, they can't afford to rent. Squatting is the only way that they
Better
will
that you have
survive.
to go to the mountain, till the lands,
Yeah.
plant root crops.
Because
kamote.
the government has actually some houses away from here in the provinces, like in the mountains of Liloan.
There's no private land in the city.
Yes. The other one is building a floating house there. You can see on the top there's a floating house that they build their indigenous materials around it, but it's not on the land anymore. It's floating. Hapon, ma'am. Iga mo tanaw ta ng floating house de dong.
Oh, correct.
So they just build a floating house instead. It's really sad, but it's such an eyesore, and it's also contaminating the waters of the Mactan Channel, since sanitation and hygiene is not followed properly. No proper disposals, so it's contaminating the water. I don't know the doubts that it's been intentionally done. Seems to be becoming true and true, since a cleanup is really needed around here and they should not be allowed to be living like this. But then again, there's too much problems around in the country than just focusing on them. People should take responsibility of their own life. Tempa. See, the wood and plywood are new. The sheets, the tarps that's given to them by an NGO are new. They still have their water connection here. It's still existing, so they still get their water. Mungkin nakakuha pa mong tubig dong. Kato ni kapilya dere. So this is where they buy water before. Kato ng kapilya before. That's their chapel where someone privately owned water connection sell it to them.
Wala man.
Kailan ko ito lang?
So a liter of Coke is now 45 pesos. And that's from cheap sari-sari store. But despite all that, you can hear that the Filipinos still having their fun, having karaoke.